Our meeting today, as you know, is hosted by Terremark. I'm going to talk very slowly until more people. Terremark went way beyond the call of duty for our hosting organizations by actually subsidizing each and every one of our hotel rooms. This is something no host has ever done before, and we are very grateful. If you were on the tour of the NAP last night, you had a great time. If you were not, you can still go tomorrow as long as you register on the web. The tour will be at 4:30. What else? So you register on. Be sure to register. Don't bring anything. You won't be able to carry anything into the building. It's very secure, to say the least. Bring your photo ID and be sure to register. You need to go to the main NANOG page and register. Okay. 450 of us here today, and we represent 16 countries outside the U.S. As you can see here, as always, Japan is in the lead. I think partly because there is a very active network operators group over there, the Japanese network operators group. Kuniaki Kondo-san, would you stand up? Yes. Kondo-san is the head of JANOG. I also wanted to introduce another familiar face, Ikuo Nakagawa, who's right next to him. A lot of you know Ikuo from IETF as well as NANOG. Ikuo was our host for the meeting. He single-handedly built a wireless network in the airport where we were meeting in Toyama, which is a city in the Japanese Alps. And this wireless network was not just in the frequent flyer lounges, of which there were none anyway. It was everywhere. It was in the restaurant. It was in the store. So to be able to walk into an airport and work, unbelievable. Another member of the leadership of the group I wanted to introduce is Rie Shimada, who was my engineer hostess for the week. Rie-san. This table shows you the percentage of women attending NANOG at the last 4 winter meetings. You can see we're up a little bit this time, but not quite where other conferences are. Aaron gets consistently a higher number of women. Usenix says that at their annual technical conference, they see about 10% women. Lisa, the Sysadmin conference, a little bit higher, but they do say that the number of women attendees is dropping over time. You may have heard about a study that Cisco and a consulting company called IDC completed a year ago. They found that at the end of 2000, only 5.6 of the people working in networking in Western Europe were women, and they don't see much better by 2004. They figure the number will be 7.3, slightly higher in some places, like France. But in Canada, they say 1 in 5 undergrad engineers are women, and 24% of all engineers born since 1970 are women. And 1970 seems to be kind of a turning point for some reason. I've read in a couple of places that the percentage of women in science and engineering has been going up since then. Where did we come from? NANOG. NANOG meetings used to be called the regional text meetings. These were held during the era of the NSFNet Backbone Service, a project that was funded by the National Science Foundation to build the first high-speed national backbone. The organization where I work, Merit, led this project, I think partly because we were already well known for our long role in running MishNet, Michigan's regional network. The regional text meetings were held between Merit and the operations and engineering staff at the regional networks, which were based at universities and research centers around the country. By the mid-90s, the National Science Foundation's goal was about to be realized. Much of the U.S. Internet was about to be privatized, which attracted a lot of newcomers to the regional text meetings. A lot of people from the private sector began to attend. The meetings got bigger and more diverse, and the group decided to recharter and rename itself. and here we are today. Your beepers and cell phones should be off. When you come up to the mics, which are there for questions, introduce yourself. And just before each speaker talks, their slides will be available to you off the agenda page on the web. Also on the web, information about our various multicast streams, about our real media broadcast, which last fall reached 146 people concurrently, not counting those of you in the room who are watching it. If you are interested in our D6 connection or static iPlea, please check with someone from Merit at the back table. We encourage you to use the public domain software we use for caching, which is known as Squid. It's fast. On average, you'll get to your sites almost twice as fast when you use Squid. Am I echoing? Good. And you can see at our last meeting we had a high hit rate with Squid. Dwayne found 43%. Dwayne Wessels is the person who handles our Squid cache, and he's put a bunch of statistics up at the Packet Pushers website. Later today, I will begin my mini series of boring messages asking you to fill out the survey. Please do. What you tell us is really important in planning our future meetings. Do not hold back. Beer and Gear, our favorite, at 5:30. We have a new boss tonight. Yesterday, Josh Wetman and Joe Abley gave a wonderful, one of our many wonderful tutorials yesterday about traffic engineering. There was a lot of interest, so if you are interested in pursuing that conversation, come to the Chopin room, the same room, at 9. And Bill Manning, who I saw this morning, so he's awake now, is going to lead a PGP key signing for us at 10:30 downstairs in the trade room, which is wood-lined and beautiful. A couple of organizations have done a tremendous amount in the past 2 years to help NANOG. University of Oregon sends our multicast folks, who you see sitting in back. Hans is there now. Greg Shepard was just very important in getting that effort going. Cisco backs them up with people and equipment. I mentioned Dwayne from Packet Pushers. Without these people, I don't know. They've been a tremendous help. Riverstone, thank you for feeding us this morning. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Monty Bannerman from Terremark. Big announcement sign when you came in this morning. I hate to disappoint you, but that's not till tomorrow at 9 sharp.
Good morning. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to welcome NANOG to both Miami and to your interaction with my company, Terremark. I'd like to ask you all, if you have the opportunity to join in on the second tour tomorrow, please do. We're very proud of what we've accomplished here, and we would consider it a great honor if you would come over and have a look at it with us. As Susan said, we had a very well-attended tour last night, and we'd like to see the same again tomorrow. If any of you, for any reasons, cannot make tomorrow's tour, please see one of the orange-shirted people here setting up your network, and we'll see if we can make other accommodations. Briefly, I want to talk a bit about the history of this project. I know many of you have been involved with the South Florida project that we've been working on for the last 19 months or so from the beginning, but I also see a great many new faces here. So I think it's useful for you to understand the unusual events, and here in South Florida we're kind of accustomed to unusual events. But this one is quite special to the network world. Back early in the year 2000, a group of individuals came together from business, government, education, and telecommunications. A state task force was assigned by the governor, Jeb Bush at the time, to try to understand how the state might attract high-tech business to the region. At the same time, a coalition of businesses was formed called Internet Coast. They also had an interest in promoting high technology in the region and in increasing the participation both in terms of people in the region and companies in the region. A coalition of the universities and community colleges were also interested in this goal so that they could find places for their engineering grads to work that wouldn't require them to leave the state. And a group of telecommunications companies were working at the time to understand how they might best exploit the new fiber systems that were being installed, which encircle the Caribbean and Central and South America. And at the time, there were many billions of dollars being spent in installing and lighting up these undersea systems. So the four groups, in a very unusual set of circumstances, came together, and out of those sessions came a single idea, which is unusual for four individual groups, and in the telecommunications world it's unusual for even two carriers to agree on something. So at the time there was a great deal of excitement about it, and they had decided that they wanted to get together and form a legal entity for the purposes of promoting and establishing the formation of a Tier 1 NAP in South Florida, one that would be designed to serve the needs of the southern countries of Central and South America, and that would provide a marketplace for the telecommunications industry and a modern facility for companies and education and research and government to come together and have a place where carriers could exchange traffic for the region. This resulted in a legal entity called NAP of the Americas, LLC. The entity issued an RFP to the world and invited companies to respond for the development of, the construction of, and the operation of a Tier 1 NAP specifically. That was the mandate, and at the time many companies responded to that RFP, including companies like Lockheed Martin and MFN Pax and many others. In the end, by, I guess it was about May of that year, they awarded the contract to develop and operate a Tier 1 NAP to Terremark, the company I work for, who at the time was in the early stages of developing a state-of-the-art, from-the-ground-up telecom hotel in downtown Miami. They also awarded Telcordia a contract because of their past experience in the enablement of two of the existing Tier 1 NAPs. We came together and formed a team, and in a very aggressive period of time, started constructing a 750,000 square foot telecom facility, as you can see from the front door of this hotel. We started construction on bare ground on the 1st of September, and by the following June, that's June of 2001, the entire structure was up and the NAP was operational on the second floor. We've taken our mandate and our guidance from our industry. Our mandate from day one was to create a Tier 1 NAP. Our ongoing guidance on technical and administrative issues in terms of our carrier neutrality, in terms of our basis of design, has been done with the ongoing cooperation and involvement of the industry. If I needed someone to talk about peering across DWDM networks, I could reach out to the carrier community and they would give me their best experts in the field. This structure and the electrical and the mechanical and network systems in it have had more peer review than anything I've ever been involved in my life, and that at times has been difficult, but in the end, I think you will see, if you've seen the facility, we've all benefited from it. The reason it's so important, and has been so important for over a year for us to host this event, is that in order to achieve our goal, we need the advice and peer relationships of the industry. And as I mentioned, we had that in the physical structure, we had that in the environmental systems in the space, we had that in the network systems in the space. That in order to achieve our long-term goal of becoming a Tier 1 NAP, we will need the active support and participation and peer review of the people in this room. So I wish to tell you all that it's very important for us that you're here. It's very important for us that we provide you with anything that you need in the way of information, assistance, or anything else that we can do to make you feel welcome here. I'd like to move on now and just briefly go over what we've installed here at the NAP to provide your network services. If you look at our connection, you'll see that there are two entities, and by the way, I apologize for this, the color of this slide. We didn't have a chance to test it before. Our multicast is provided by our close friends and working associates at FIU, with whom we have a research and development agreement. We're very interested in the educational aspects of Internet 2, and the NAP hosts the Internet 2 Gigapath for the AMPATH network. We work very closely with these people, and we're actively engaged right now in working on R&D projects that will support education, research, and advanced network services in the areas of monitoring and security. We're providing internships. We're doing joint lab work. We also have a very close working relationship with Quest, who happens to be the backbone provider for Abilene. So as you see, we're very interested in things like IPv6 and what's happening in Internet 2 and what's happening in the research and development communities around the world. I don't think I need to explain this diagram to any of you folks. I'd like to mention our sponsors who've been very helpful and very generous. Quest for their upstream connectivity, FIU again for their providing of multicast for us, HP, who has provided us with a full turnkey operational support system here with OpenView, so we can watch down on this network during the conference and ensure that you folks maintain your connectivity, and Foundry for their generous support in providing equipment. I'd also like to acknowledge my team, the leads of my team that will continue to serve you through this, and I hope if you meet these people, you'll introduce yourselves to them. Matt Brooks, who is our top guy in engineering here. Bob Hewitt, who's our optical engineer and general handyman, who provided network and infrastructure support. Bill Williams, who I hope as many of you as possible will have a chance to talk to, who's our peering and network connectivity coordinator. Stephen Spaller, who's providing ongoing network support. Clarissa, who you may have met at the registration desk, who's done all of the coordination and logistics, along with Laura Hernandez of our staff. With that, I just want to again thank you all for coming, and I want to tell you that we're very happy to have you here and to be given the honor of hosting this event.
Thanks so much, Monty.